So we ended up taking these poacher or gamekeepers guns. There's some debate about their origin into the mountains. It was very interesting shooting them. I think that we reviewed them a little bit, but I thought maybe a studio second look is a good idea. So this was kind of the winner for function. It's extremely light. I don't know what it weighs, almost nothing. And just to review, in case you haven't seen the other parts of the video, so the stock is twist, and then it comes apart just like that. And the barrel is very easy. You just rotate it like this, and it comes out. And you can see there are kind of dual locking lugs here and here. And you'll notice there are no proof marks. There's nothing to indicate the origin of the gun, which is atypical. Normally there's something on it, but you can see how simple. I was going to say primitive, but it's actually not that primitive. These lugs, by the way, they remind me of Wesley Richards I owned years ago in 303. And that's actually how Wesley Richards attached their takedown barrel on some of their Lee Speed type sporters. So it's a reliable system. That's the whole, basically, that's the gun. And when we fired it, you'll see in the video, we fired it, and I'll just assemble it again. And the barrel was what I was holding on to. You have to make sure that you get it lined up correctly, which I didn't do, or else you get the bead upside down because they're not indexed in any way. There we go. So I was holding on to the frame, and I probably should have been holding on to the barrel, but maybe I was being timid. There's really no evidence that it's not completely safe to fire. Anyway, not holding on to the barrel because there's no forend or anything. The little shotgun flew out of my hands, which you'll see. It's quite striking when it happens. I had stopped at Cabela's and picked up some regular 16 gauge loads. Probably overpowered, I would say. I don't think there's a problem with strength, and there's shotgun shells, in case you don't know it, are fairly low pressure rounds. Even though there's a lot of recoil, people think that means it's like 50,000 pounds of pressure, or so they write me, but it's not. It's 11, 15,000, I think around 11,000 PSI, but don't quote me, you could look it up. And so yeah, loading, very simple, take off the barrel, and then push this trigger forward till it clicks. So you've cocked the hammer by way of this reverse trigger, which is quite clever, and then firing is here. So this one worked fine. And when you look at it like this, and now that I've shot it a few times, the ideal thing would be to have just drill a hole in a piece of wood, in a piece of walnut, and fit it onto the barrel. I don't know if you know the Lutic, I think it's LJUTIC mono gun, or a space gun, I should say. It has a forend like that, and then it would be something to hold on to, and I might do that. But I mean, probably I'll just keep it the way it is because it works fine, and I don't have big plans for safaris with this gun. I'll just line everything up down here. There we go. So that's together, and this junction is actually pretty well done too. Quite nice. So that's the one we shot. This one was, I was going to say it was a failure, but it has kind of a more complex action, and you just push this down, and then you can also rotate the barrel, and it's a little bit more of a more significant, let's say, action, and then rotate and close, just like that. But when I tried to fire it, it wouldn't fire. And yet I could see the firing pin. I'll show it to you. It's right there. You can see that it may be too shadowy in there, I don't know. But you can see that at the bottom of the action, there's a firing pin, and the protrusion is right. So why didn't it fire? Well, pretty simple. This goes in like this. And I should have picked up on this before I went out there. See that that little gap there. So I took a screwdriver, a slot screwdriver, I forced it in there to push the barrel against the breech face. Then it fired. But we can't be filming with screwdrivers sticking out of the side of the action because they can fly out and things like that. So all I need to do is build up this lug, and then it'll be pressed against the breech face. So it too is reliable, and this should be improved. See these where the stock meets the action, that should all be closed up and changed, and we'll get to that in time and then take it out in the mountains again. But very interesting to see. And then you probably want to see the buttstock, so that's just a turn also. This might be a little bit slicker than the other one. If it looks like there's force required, not really, just alignment and then typical hammer operation. It's a good design. All right, well, if you had more questions about them, I have never seen anything like these anywhere. Oh, and probably should, this sort of is the topper, because this barrel comes apart beautifully, and the threading is very well done. And somebody was saying, why the long barrel? That's probably true. This would be fine. It definitely would be functional. I need to get some lighter 16 gauge loads and then take it out, and then we'll see how it works. As it was, they were light loads, but I think they were federal grade ammo, but too heavy for these tiny little light guns. I wouldn't be surprised if they, were using custom cut down, very short 16 gauge shells, but I have no proof of that. All right, well, so much for the poachers or gamekeepers guns. I still kind of lean towards the people that write me that these were poachers guns, because there's so many other alternatives for a gamekeeper. I have the poachers gun that I showed you before, so we'll shoot that. I just fired it, and in order to take out the rounds, you have to use a cleaning rod or something like that, which is fine. One of the most brutal recoiling guns I've ever fired, frankly. It's very light, and I'm assuming that they didn't use, full power 16 gauge ammunition. They probably had something less than what I'm shooting, but the pressures for shotguns are quite low, and I looked at everything, fired it quite a few times now, and it seems to be quite safe. But before I go on, I wanted to thank you for the many comments I had, people concerned about my health and thinking I'm maybe a drug addict or alcoholic or so. I have a condition called essential tremor. I've had it since I was a teenager, so I'm quite used to it. I'm sorry if it alarms you. It probably would alarm me as well. I guess on final assembly, when I was being built, quality control made some mistakes, so sometimes my hands shake, and there's nothing I can do about it. There are different medications, but it comes and goes. And I guess what happens is when you have a condition like that, you get so used to it. And maybe I shouldn't get so used to it. But then we get up here and I think, well, we may as well just go ahead and film, because it doesn't really impair me. It probably looks like it does. But I'll be okay. Anyway, gee, it's fogging up. You can see temperatures dropping. It drops up here very quickly. So we'll shoot this poacher's gun. But truly, thank you for tolerating my condition. And I keep going as long as I can with whatever I have. And I'll take out the cleaning rod, maybe not a bad idea. We'll set that on the ground. So loading this is quite interesting and simple. I like everything about it. So we've got my frozen hand, and boom, she goes. And I can't see any limitation in the chamber length. In fact, it looks like a 3-inch, but I'd find that hard to believe. And then you have the locking lugs, which are very tiny. And then we've got the action, and it turns in just like that. So now we're we're locked, but we're not loaded. Then when I pull this trigger forward or push it forward, then we'll be ready to fire. And I just set up some clay pigeons. I don't want to shoot this thing 100 times. You'll see, it's brutal because it weighs nothing. Anyway, it's good to probably show it working. So here we go. I hope I can hang on to it. On one shot, it actually flew out of my hands when I didn't know what I was doing. And yeah, now I'm cocked too, so I have to be careful. I notice I don't put my hand on the barrel. I hold it back here. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Now you see, now I've shot it enough times that I'm ready for the recoil. So I don't know whether we filmed that. Maybe we'll take one more shot. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. There's so the poacher or game manager, I hear different stories about these. I would wonder why a game manager would need such an unusual weapon. For those of you that wrote me, it's a game manager's tool. If I were a game manager, I would just carry a regular shotgun. But anyway, I'll take this out with that cleaning rod, reload, and we'll take another shot. Okay, so another federal load. Has to be the prettiest shotgun shell color ever. Very simple, and you know, I'm kind of liking this unit more and more. Of course, I could put some weight on it, but anyway, we'll see. Did you see that? It totally flew out of my hands because I'm a little bit stupid and I should have held it on the barrel, but I haven't matured enough yet to do that. So she jumped, but on the shot before filming, this actually flew out of my hands completely. I think it probably deserves a lighter load, but I actually couldn't find any 16 gauge. Cabela's was sold out. Everybody was sold out. Everybody's sold out of everything these days. And then it comes in and then it's gone again. All right, well, I hope you find that interesting and entertaining. You saw that gun jump. And just in case you didn't see the other videos, this is the take apart. So it's really simple. I won't even attempt to shoot it with just this. That would be something. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. And something different.